Watch, I know exactly what card you're thinking of from here. Ready? 1, 2, boom. This card right here, the King of Spades. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. It has been a pleasure. And if that wasn't your card, rewatch the video and pick that as your card. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the card trick's pretty much like that, but it works. Alright, yo, so check this out. For those of you who are curious, today I'm going to be using the Harry Potter Slytherin Edition playing cards by Theory 11. I actually didn't know how much I liked the color green until I started using the color green, so things you just learn along the way when doing Magic. Now, I'll start off by shuffling up the deck, and now we actually don't need the entire deck. I'm just going to grab a couple of cards, say this many right here, and I want you just to think of any one of these cards. Of course, you can do that if you were actually here, but since you're not, I'm going to freeze the frame for a second, and you're going to memorize the card that's on the screen. Alright? Once we got that, ideally, again, if you were here, I'd hand you this packet, and what I want you to do is spell out your card using these cards. And what I mean by that, for example, you pick the 2 of clubs. You'd first do the value, T, W, O, then of, O, F, can't forget about that, then clubs, C, L, U, B, S, right? And then that would be it. That's what you got to do. So I'm going to hand this off to you. I'll close my ears or something. Just do this in your head. Count out the card in your head. That felt like an intense process for me because I'm doing it. I'm trying not to pay attention to me doing it. But here we go. I want you now to think of that card in your mind. Say it out loud as much as you can, but in your mind, not out loud, out loud. In your mind. Now check this out. 1, 2, 3. Turn over the top card and you'll see it was the card that you merely thought of. Phenomenal. Boom. What up, crew? It is Magic Monday, and this is your place to learn Magic, master your performance, and captivate audiences. The effect I'm sharing with you today is known as Mental Spell by the man himself, Di Vernon. So you know it's gonna be good. And the best part is that it takes no technical skills to be able to pull this off. So now before we dive right into the tutorial, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and get ready to fool all your friends. Now grab your favorite deck, and let's do it. Alright, just real quick before we proceed, I want to thank my friends at the Daily Magician for sponsoring this video. They literally run a phenomenal deal where they offer 24 books written by some of the greatest magicians in the world for free. All you have to do is sign up for their mailing list. Some of the tricks that I shared on this channel were directly from these books, so if you want this collection to yourself, click on the first link in the description. Alright, so welcome to the tutorial. Now, getting started, I do want to let you know this is a setup type card trick, so you gotta need a setup beforehand. And that being said, because it's a setup type card trick, I would rank this as maybe high level beginner, low level intermediate, even though really anyone can do it, just because I like to have some kind of a false element right at the beginning, whether it's a false cut that looks something like this or a false shuffle that I did in the beginning of my performance. Maybe I'll break that down a bit later on, but this is what you need as far as your setup goes. First card on top, we have the 6 of clubs. That's the center here, 6 of clubs. Next card, 10 of hearts. Next card, 4 of spades, hopefully you can see that. Followed by 10 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, Queen of hearts, King of diamonds, Queen of diamonds, and the 10 of clubs. So this is literally a 10 card setup, and it needs to look something like this, or exactly like this, not something like this. Exactly like this. Put this whole pile right on top of the deck, and you're pretty much ready to begin. When I start off, I take the cards out of the tuck case, as you pretty much just saw me do, and then I like to give the deck a false overhand shuffle. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, maybe I'll go through 2 methods. The first method is my favorite false cut that I use literally all the time. It looks something like this. So I'm holding the deck in a biddle grip, thumb goes on bottom, middle finger, ring finger on top like this. Now I'm going to use the swing cut to swing over a packet of cards, so break off about a third of the deck from this hand and grab it with this hand. So the way I'm grabbing is I'm coming like this, pinching it with this part of my hand here, grabbing this whole packet out like so. Now I curl my pinky in here and I repeat the same thing, but now when I do this, this whole packet is sitting right on top of my pinky. There's a separation here. The packet that's remaining in my hand goes down on the table, followed by everything pick up here, and then the rest here. Right, so up to speed, it looks something like this, and that literally retains the entire deck order. So it's pretty nice. I use it literally all the time. No one ever picks it up. So that's method number 1, probably what I'd recommend if you're just starting out. Method number 2, this is more intermediate level, I'd say. You do an overhand shuffle. Now, of course, an overhand shuffle looks something like this when you're throwing cards over. Let me put this off to the side. Overhand shuffle is something like this, right? You're throwing cards over like this and shuffling up the deck. So what I kind of came up with the help of Royal Road to Card Magic is my own variation on that shuffle, where you're controlling the top packet of the deck. So I throw over maybe about 10, 15 to 20 cards at the very most, at least 10, right? You need at least 10 cards. Now you in-jog this card like this. So using my thumb, I in-jog like so, creating this card to protrude out. And then I do the overhand shuffle for the rest of the cards. You can see that card is still protruding out. As I do the shuffle, I stop here, and I almost break here a little bit to just say some kind of comment to the spectator, saying I'm going to shuffle up the cards. Now when I'm coming back, I push down and forward, creating a break between these cards like so. Then I continue overhand shuffling until I get to the break. Then I throw the rest of the cards over, which is what I did in my performance. And you'll see the top 10 cards did not change whatsoever, right? That's done. We took the cards out, we shuffled it up in front of the spectator. This just gives them a false sense of security that the cards have been shuffled, everything is as fair as possible. But as soon as that's done, now you take out 10 random cards, and you're not counting off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're just gonna kind of smoothly take out 10 cards. And the way that I do this is I count packets of 3. So I count 3 cards, 3 cards, 3 cards, and 1 card. This may take a little bit of practice to know exactly how many 3 cards are, or just to get in the groove of 3, 3, 3, and 1, all right? So that's something you may need to practice. So you have these cards, the rest of the deck can go over to the side. And now, of course, the spectator literally has a free choice of selecting any one of these 10 cards, which is why I think this trick is phenomenal, and of course, Divernon always does a great job. So these are the potential options of what the spectator can select. Now, there are a couple of outcomes, but I guess before I talk about that, let's move on to this part. So as far as the performance goes, right, we show these cards to the spectator remembers any one of these cards. As of right now, it doesn't really matter what the card is, but let's just say they picked some random card in this packet, right? They're just thinking of that card. So now you say you want to spell, or they're going to spell out their card. For example, right, you give this now as an example, 2 of clubs. Now, 2 of clubs actually has a value of 10, I think, right? TWOOFCLUBS, right? 10. And all that's going to do is maintain the pack order. So you show the spectator, they're going to count the value, T, W, O, then the of, people forget that sometimes, O, F, then clubs, C, L, U, B, S. Remember to add the S. And I just like to say this as I perform. And what this does is it just literally just leaves the packet in the exact order, but to them it may seem like the cards are now being mixed up even a bit more. So you say you have a card selected, you hand them the packet. Now, of course, they're thinking of one of these cards. You have absolutely no idea what card they're thinking of. But this is, well, I think, phenomenal, my favorite part. You're going to count the number of cards the spectator moves, okay? So the spectator is going to move anywhere between 10 to 15 cards because of how each of these cards are spelled, right? And I don't sell this effect as a spelling effect. I sell this more as a mental effect. But of course, you can feel free to do it however you'd like, but this is just my preference. So I hand the packet over to them, and they have some cards selected. Now, there are 2 10 value cards. The 10 value cards are the 10 of clubs and the 6 of clubs. Each of those cards are spelled with 10 letters. TENOFCLUBS, SIXOFCLUBS, right? Count them on our fingers, 10, 10. So let's just say they picked the 6 of clubs, right? This is our first case. They picked 10 cards. You count C. Oh, what am I doing? You count the 6 SIXOFCLUBS. And of course, a spectator's counting this, right? All you're doing is just looking at what they're doing and counting the number of cards. So you saw that they counted 10 cards. Their card is now either one of 2. It's either the top card or it's the bottom card because of how the ordering of the cards works. So they picked the 6 of clubs. You ask them what's the card they selected. They say 6 of clubs. You ask them to turn over the top card, and there it is. Now, let's say they thought of the 10 of clubs. Now, since 10 of clubs is counted the same way, TENOFCLUBS, the top card of the packet is still the 6 of clubs. So now you're still going to ask them, what card did you select? In this case, they're not going to say 6 of clubs. They're going to say 10 of clubs. So you tell them, flip over the entire packet, and the bottom card is the 10 of clubs, right? So just to quickly recap on if you count 10 cards, you ask them what their card is. If they say 6 of clubs, flip over the top card. If they say 10 of clubs, you flip over the bottom card, okay? So that's use case number 1. Use case number 2, and this one is my favorite. If the spectator moves 11 or 12 cards, all you have to do is flip over the top card. So for example, the two cards that are 11 and 12 are 4 of spades and 10 of diamonds. So if you can see that, 4 of spades and 10 of diamonds. Let's just say they selected 10 of diamonds because we already did 4 of spades. TENOFDIAMONDS. Of course, now you want to do a bit of a build-up, otherwise it's very boring. Have them flip over the top card, and it's the 10 of diamonds. And it's the exact same way that we did the 4 of spades right in the beginning. So 11 or 12 cards, don't have to ask them any questions. Create a build-up, have them flip over the top card, and that'll always be their card. And I love when they pick this. Use case number 3. If they move 13, 14, or 15 cards, there are 2 potential outcomes. One is if they select a face card, and one is if they don't select a face card. So let's take 4 of diamonds, for example. Let's just say you spread out the cards, they thought of 4 of diamonds. Now let's spell that out. F-O-U-R, that's 4. O-F, that's 6. And D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S, I believe that's 8. D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S. That is 8. Bam. So that number adds up to 14. So there could be other cards, like for example, King of Diamonds. That also adds up to 14. So you ask them, you were thinking of a picture card, weren't you? They're gonna say yes or no. If they have, let's just say again, they're picked the 4 of diamonds, it's not a face card. If they say no, all they have to do, again, build up some tension, build up some hype, all they have to do is turn over the top card, and that's gonna be their selected card. Right, let's just bring that back one more time. It's the same story if they pick the 7 of diamonds, they count off. Of course, you ask them face card, not face card, they say no, it's not a face card, and then you just reveal the top card, it's gonna be the 7 of diamonds. The exact same way that we did the 4 of diamonds. Now, there are 3 other outcomes. If they count 13, 14, or 15, they could have picked Queen of Hearts, King of Diamonds, or Queen of Diamonds, right? So this is use case number 4, and let's dive right into it. Let's say now they pick a card that's spelled out to either 13 or 15 letters, and of course this one is a face card. And you know that it's a face card because you ask, you were thinking of a face card, weren't you? And in this case now they say yes, and again, this is for 13 or 15. So let's just say they picked the Queen of Diamonds, right? Queen-of-Diamonds. What you're gonna do is take a look, have them take a look at the bottom card. Remember its value. The value is 4. Then all they're gonna do is count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th card will be their selected card, Queen of Diamonds. And of course, Queen of Diamonds is 15. You can do this for 13 as well. And what is 13? I think Queen of Hearts 13? Queenofhearts. Yes, Queen of Hearts is 13. So you're literally doing this for Queen of Hearts or Queen of Diamonds. You flip over the bottom card, show that, and then have them count off the 4, and that'll be their selected card. And lastly, they move all their cards. You ask them, you were thinking of a picture card, weren't you? They say yes, right? And I think the only one left is King of Diamonds. So they do K-I-N-G-O-F-D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S. Again, they're doing all this in their head. All you're doing is just counting out the number. At this point, instead of turning it over like this, you're gonna have them turn over the top card and replace it back on top. So 4 diamonds, replace it back on top, have them remember the value, and they count 1, 2, 3. The 4th card will be the King of Diamonds. Now, I know this feels like it's a lot to remember, a bunch of different use cases, but trust me, after doing it 2-3 times, you'll have it down, or it's literally gonna be second nature to you. And you will. I guarantee it. You will be blowing minds because everything literally happens in their mind and in their hands. It's phenomenal. Thank you again to the Daily Magician for sponsoring this video. You guys seriously offer amazing content for everyone. And of course, a huge shout out to all my Patreon producers, and thank you. Love you. See you soon.